So Kent, just as you said, not only is it about inputs, it's about outputs. One of the things that we did on the S-32 model is that we have direct outputs on every one of the inputs. That's a real useful feature for a number of reasons.
Oh, yes. Direct outs on every channel allow us to tie into, for instance, a dedicated recorder for something like that, or what is most common now, personal monitoring systems. So we can get the individual signals out here. If you look at the configuration, you see down where Tom is on the output section there, all that array of XLR outputs, which gives a very professional look and ability for the contractor to not have to worry about issues of adapters and balancing and all these kind of things.
That's often a problem
Right.
if it's not wired or quarter-inch unbalanced outputs.
Right. And we've got here, these are our media inputs, which would be the CD player, tape deck, that type of thing. We've got two sets of RCA inputs. We can have a CD player and a cassette deck plugged into here, along with line inputs, say a drum machine, loop playback, any of these kind of things. That's all on one channel with a simple 3-button selector at the top here.
That's right.
And 2 buttons over here. You could plug almost any amount of data devices into it and not tie up channels.
That's real important. In churches, there are a lot of stereo sources used, but they're typically used for just a short period of time during the service, maybe playing a CD, maybe a video clip, but you don't have to tie up a whole bunch of channels to do that. We have a selector switch that allows you to select which one is going to be played, and we have an individual gain trim control on those so that the level can all be preset for each of those sources.
Oh, that's excellent. Now, I've also noticed that you mentioned earlier the USB. Here's our USB in and out. That is both in and out on one
That's correct.
piece. And along with that, we've got all of our monitor outs on balanced XLR. We've got a special left and right trim control. Can you tell us about that?
Gain structure of a sound system is very, very important. Gain structure of the system is simply a matter of how are the controls set in the system from one end to the other to allow the signal to pass through without distortion and with a minimal amount of noise. And not only does it take place in the mixer, but it applies to the rest of the sound system as well. So by including output level trim controls, we can set the signal levels through the system, so we've got proper levels on the meters, we've got proper signal level, and then we can adjust the output level of the mixer so we have proper level in the sound system also at that same time.
That is an amazing way to do it. It's the proper way to do things. With a single box solution here in the S-32 and the 14 and 24, we could conceivably have a system that consisted of just the mixer,
yes,
an amplifier, and then the input-output devices, the speakers and microphones.
Mm-hmm.
And we would basically, with this type of configuration, not need another EQ, not need compressors, not need all this outboard gear.
That's right.
That typically eats up the budget, takes up space, detracts from the aesthetics of the situation.
Sure.
We've got one box that solves the problem.
And each one of those boxes adds a lot of cost to the system.
Oh, it does.